Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a really exciting unboxing video to share with you guys. A knife that I know many of you have been wondering, when is he going to get his hands on that? Well, it's here. I bought it, paid for it, not given to me. It was something I went ahead and bought. Now, this is an unboxing video I'm actually doing again. No one has seen the original unboxing video. I just recorded it yesterday. And then after having some conversations yesterday afternoon, I realized the way that unboxing video that no one has seen, because I never uploaded it, that would not have gone down well. I really need to provide these clarifications with all of you guys, because they're very important. Thank you so much to my patrons for supporting me. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex, and for the time being on TikTok at _metal_complex. I picked this knife up from Recon One, and I'll link places where these have been in the past. I can't guarantee that they're available right now, but if you get an opportunity to pick one of these up, my initial impression of this knife is it's very good, right? I've already been carrying this for about a day. So what is it? This, look at that Magna Cut, 6364, wonderful. The Tactile Chupacabra. I have honestly thoroughly enjoyed carrying this knife. Beautiful. Look at that, a nice clicky locking system that is very reminiscent of the Snex Super Lock. And the reason is because it is a modified version of the Super Lock. But is it a collaboration? I had always assumed it was an official collaboration. It even looks very similar to the Snex Vision R and Vision FG, right? It actually looks really, really similar to the Hinder MP1. And the reason I point that out is because the MP1 was not an original aesthetic, right? So before we get on the derailed train of like, that looks like a copy of this profile is hardly, it did not originate with Snex or the Hinder MP1 or the hundreds of knives before that, right? So don't waste your time with that. The lock itself, though, I read a Knife News article that said it was a borrowed Super Lock. And I remember thinking that's an interesting way to say collaboration, right? Well, it turns out it's not an official collaboration, but where I think some people might get a misunderstanding. I don't want there to be any misunderstandings. I talked with Michael from Tactile so I could get a clarification on this. It is an authorized modification of the Super Lock. And what I mean by that is Snex, while not an official collaborator in this project, does legally allow other companies to use the Super Lock. It is not, I want people to understand that this is not something that is being stolen without permission. It is officially a modified Snex Super Lock. And Snex is like, yeah, other companies can totally use this, right? That is official. That's the information that I got from Tactile. And it's the information that I wanted very specifically to be in this video, because the original unboxing I did was me going, cool, Snex and Tactile collab, right? That wasn't actually the case, and that would have been a huge mess, right? So that is what this is. So how did Tactile do with this? Initially, I was really overwhelmed. My thoughts right now are almost the same as they were when I unboxed this. Very, very excited. Number one, it is bigger and more hefty than I ever expected. I expected it to be smaller, thinner, and not as hefty. They did full steel liners underneath the aluminum, which some people are not going to like because it makes the knife feel a little bit butt heavy, which it is a little bit. You can see the balance is a little back here. They probably could have nested these or even done away with the vast majority of the steel underneath the aluminum. I'm kind of wondering why they didn't, but I don't think it's necessarily a problem. The modification that Tactile, and actually Michael told me, he said there's actually been 22. We altered it 22 times. We tested and altered and tested and altered 22 times to get it to the way that it is, right? The idea behind the lock is essentially the same, but it is an altered, like the point of contact and the geometry of how it locks up is altered. They did get it to a point where it is very strong and very reliable. And honestly, you can see I'm giving it a little extra there than what I normally do. So don't tell me I'm not giving it that I'm giving it a foof. Now, don't tell me that. I'm giving a little extra. It definitely is reliable, right? But you do have that same sort of reliability, manipulation, strength there as the Super Lock. There is an additional click that they added, that brake. Oh, that is something that is not present in the Vision FG or Vision R, and it is very satisfying to deploy. On the flip side, this area back here, you can get at it. I find myself bending my finger this way so I can get better leverage. Coming here, yeah, kinda. There's a lot of tension. There's a lot of force trying to push it back this way. And I think it's probably not a tension issue or a shape issue. I think we need more traction here. There was somebody on Instagram that was like, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this area back here, and I think it might need, might need to look at the jimping on that. I think that additional, maybe raising this slightly or shaping it slightly different, and if not that, definitely changing the texture. It's pretty good. It's, I would say anywhere from okay to pretty good the way that it is. You can see I can do it, right? My hands get a little tired, and I think it's mostly because I can't get the exactly the right traction on this. Right? But it's good, and honestly, the fun factor and the clickiness of deploying the blade kind of makes up for that, right? Ergonomically, I think it is really comfortable, and because they have knocked these edges down, it's nowhere near what people describe as, unnecessary sharpness like on the Shark Lock, right? And that's justified. It is really sharp there. Now, because there's not a crazy amount of texturing, like this definitely has the traction that you need, right? That's beautiful. Because it doesn't have that, it makes it much more comfortable to grip like this. This part that's in your hand, super comfortable. Choking up, kind of a disappointment because they gave us this hard triangle right here. Nice and ergonomic here, and there's a distinct guard keeping your hands away from the blade. I think this is probably a little unnecessary. They probably could knock that down a little bit, give this more of a circle shape so we could choke up, much more like on the Vision FG. Then again, if they did that, it really would get people, shoveling coal into the engines of that's a copy of the that train. That would really get that in there. But the choke up position here is a little bit disappointing. Those and the pointy pocket clip bill are all of my one-day kind of gripes. I don't think any of those are bad things. I think what they've done here is really, really cool. This is kind of like in between a first impressions and an actual review, but obviously one day of carry is not enough for me to review the object. So this is still a first impressions, and I will still review it. What I love about this knife is the blade shape and the geometry, the cutting geometry. Couple that with the fact that they have 63-64 hardened Magna Cut. Wow. It's not only is it impressive, I've already been cutting with it. It's razor sharp. This was sticky, just mean sticky right out of the box. Beautiful tumbled finish. Comes in a couple of different finishes, stonewashed or satin. And I want to further elaborate on this. There were people telling me that Tactile had experienced lock failure in these locks. It turns out, further clarification on that, because that's a broad statement. In their huge initial first batch, they had 3 that experienced failure. And each of those were the tumbled finish. And apparently they figured out when they tumbled these blades, they didn't go back and make that locking surface grippy or sharp enough to not slip. The tumbling smoothed it out enough that it was causing the surfaces to slip off of each other. I hope I'm describing this correctly, Michael. the gentleman I talked with from Tactile. So they fixed this. So newer batches of these knives, whether you get the satin finish or you get the tumbled finish, the lock faces are identical now. So like this one, I asked him, I said, what about those of us who picked these up at Recon 1? And he said, those are all new batch. They're fine, right? And that appears to be the case here. They are currently working on changing the pivot internals to make it smoother. So this is not the final version of this product. They said we're always looking to make it a little better here or there. There'll be evolutions or maybe version 2s of the Chupacabra in the future, right? I personally would love to see more colors of aluminum. I'd love to see you guys nest whatever parts of the steel internals are absolutely necessary, right? I don't think we need full liners. I think you can nest these, right, or cartridge them. And the rest of this can be aluminum. I think texturing the aluminum might be a little bit of a good idea. I think, you know, the jimping here, make that a little sharper, make the jimping here a little sharper and extend it a little bit, right? And yikes, I really don't like that, but it's not the worst thing in the world. I do like the length of the clip, right? What I really like is the price. This was $250, and all things considered, because these are made in the USA. They don't do the heat treat there. They order the bearings, right? And they don't do the anodizing for the aluminum. But I'm pretty sure the heat treat and the anodizing is still done somewhere in the United States. Maybe the bearings come from some Chinese company, but most U.S. knife makers do this. This is authentically in-house, $250. Aluminum, really cool locking system, really reliable locking system, ambidextrous locking system, right? Why we don't have a mounting position for the pocket? Number one, you need a symmetrical clip on this. Why? So that you can have it mountable on both sides. We have an ambidextrous locking system. We need ambi clip mounting positions. That has to be the case, right? However, $250 for what I get here as a right-handed person, this is an incredibly reliable tool. And it is one of the more impressive things that I have seen, despite these initial criticisms. It is one of the more exciting and more impressive things that I have seen from the U.S. knife market in 2024. And I think this particular model and Tactile have a very bright future. I think this is super cool. I think that it would be really cool, slightly smaller. And I think it would be really cool if they made a big old chunky boy. I think that'd be awesome. I do like this. Carrying and using it has been wonderful despite a couple of just kind of mild annoyances. I'm really happy with this purchase, right? So I don't have any active affiliate links for this, so I don't get paid if you buy one. And they didn't send me this for free. I just bought it because it was sitting there at Recon. So whatever you think of my channel or me or what my, you know, whether or not certain videos are influenced by this or that, and not, I'm always going to give you my opinion, but some people can't help but think that, and that's fine. This is authentically how I feel about this, and it was really important for me to get that clarification out there about the Super Lock and what this is. They didn't steal it, right? It's not an official collaboration, but it is an authorized modification of the lock, right? Which is cool. I think it's really cool that Snex lets people do that, according to Tactile. So anyways, expect a full review on this, but I need to carry it and use it, which I will be doing. I will be carrying and using this knife a lot. Yeah, so far, pretty cool. Pretty cool knife, honestly. That's going to be it for today's unboxing and first impressions. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex and on TikTok at _metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.